good evening, everyone. I'm Tracy Casey-Arnold, better known as TA, superhero for life and superhero for Christ, reporting in to what I call the Superhero Command Center Cave as we join together every Tuesday night where we do nothing but dive in the Word and bring the Word when it comes to our focus for the week. Now, I don't know if you saw On the Move Monday yesterday where I launched the focus for the week, which I'm excited about. I just got to admit it because it so lines up with superheroes, and it so lines up with our number one superhero, Jesus Christ, is where we launched not the word power, but powerful this week. Is if you did not get to watch that episode, I need for you to go and watch the Monday launch. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it right here on Facebook. Now, with that, you guys, welcome as we join tonight for our focus tonight, where we take that word powerful and we convert it into our focus called one. Woo! I'm so excited because I love when I'm bringing a word that I believe that God is bringing, and he just gives me a little birthday gift and just kind of pops it right before I focus on the word and then brings it before me and say, now here you go. Now you can add this to what you're doing. And I just giggle and I laugh like I'm 5 years old because I refuse to grow up. And I look at what the Lord brings to top it all off, and I think, what a great addition. What a great way of taking what we're going to read in the Word and putting it to something that we can go visually see right now. That we can visually see right now, Lord. I absolutely love that. And so with that, you guys, you know me, I definitely want to welcome those that are joining me live here on Facebook, and then those that are going to be driving me and actually joining me live right after this. I do a back-to-back live on Facebook, hop off of here, and then people join me live on YouTube. We are here every Tuesday, you guys, at 7:55 Central Standard, 8:55 on the East Coast, and that's 4:55, you guys, on the Pacific Coast. Did I say that right? No, that's 5:55 on the Pacific Coast. There we go. And then we just join 1 hour later when I close this down, right back to back live on YouTube. So welcome YouTube, welcome Facebook, and let me do some shout outs to those that you have joined me. And if you've joined me, please make sure you share this. Don't leave. If you just get one thing, that may be that one thing that somebody else needed right now, or it could be something else that was shared, even on the comments, that may be that thing that God's going to use just to turn things right around for them, or just to get them to have a hope, to get them to get back up, or to keep on going. And so let's see who's on with me tonight as we join you guys. So excited. Welcome, Leticia Forbes. So excited that you've joined me. Evelyn Otero, my dear friend, so glad that you've joined. Mr. James Kirkland is in the house. Welcome, Captain Kirk. So glad that you're in. Joanna Perez, welcome. Kurt Green, welcome. So glad that you've joined. Kathy Anointed Aguirre, man, welcome. I missed you last Friday. I was looking for you on our prayer online, and so glad you've joined me tonight, sister. Hubert Smith, man, I'm lifting up your family. I saw your post request. I am lifting up and standing in prayer with you, brother. Thank you for joining me yet again another night. So glad that you have. Harry Thorne, so glad that you've joined. Man, Jacqueline Prince, my beautiful sister, all the way down to San Antonio. So glad you've joined. Javier Vasquez Cuistia, hope I said that right. If not, send it to me so I can pronunciate it right. I know how some people are about that names, and I stand with you on that. Sharon Stewart, hello, sister. Welcome. Natalie Weeks, hello, sweetheart. So glad that you've joined me live. Man, just so many people on tonight. Olivia Maria Alfonso, welcome. And man, in the house right now, you guys, Pastor T just joined us. Man, what a night. I am really excited about this message that we have because, as I said in the quote, it doesn't take an army to defeat an enemy. It takes an army-sized heart of one to do it. The power of one. And we see many stories in the Bible where one man or one woman laid down their life or risked their life, or man changed their heart or just lifted up in worship, and it changed God's heart, or it saved a whole nation or nations. And I want to talk about that because our word that we launched on Monday, you guys, was powerful. And what I really brought, and I really hope I brought it well, was to get you to feel something inside of you about who you are, about who God's made you to be. That when you choose Christ and you get a blood transfusion from your blood to his blood, you're him. He gives you that power. He makes you strong and not weak. He makes you mighty and not frail. And that's the one thing I believe that he wants us to know right now in this season, in this generation. What's going on in the world is the power that we have to speak unto it, to command it, to even bind it and loose it, as we said on Monday, and how by us calling down and opening up the heavens like Peter, we could call down and loose and bind what is in heaven to be done right here on earth. But as I said on Monday, some of us don't understand that. Some of us are not truly walking in it. Or those that know it, man, we're not exercising it to the full power every second of every day. And I believe that right now at a time like this, you and I, have what it takes to change everything that we're seeing in the world. You know, I got a phone call from a dear friend of mine who says, man, can you just believe all of this is going on? Man, it just breaks my heart. This is devastating. And I just thought about my message yesterday, and this is my dear friend that I've known for many years, and I thought, okay, Lord, so we're scheduled to get on a call, and I do that with her. I always regird her up because that woman's a queen, to make sure she knows she's got a crown, she's got a cloak, she's got a scepter, and that her blood is Jesus, and that anything that she sees that she doesn't like, that she has the power to call into the power of God and bring it down, just like Elisha bringing down fire to saturated wood. We can change this. God is looking for us as the church to change it. He says, wait a minute, I've given you what it takes to change it. And that's why he's trying to raise some dead things in us, because he knows one person, come on, one person, even a few, he can hear it from the heavens. And everything, including what is history, what has always been, the fight that's been there forever, can be changed. And so with that tonight, we're going to be diving in to the story of King Josiah. I like the way that sounds, Josiah. Just a name like that lets me know that he's a king who did something gigantic, but he was one king. And then the Lord gave me a gift, because he knows I love movies, and gave me a movie, literally gift wrapped it in my lap. Didn't even know it was going to be something he was going to give me, that I can bring you right now for you to go and watch. And my Lord, will it paint the story. But first of all, you guys, let's dive in. And again, welcome to those of you that are joining me that I've not did any shout outs with already. Man, Haley Hascott, welcome. So glad. Pat Weatherly and Jennifer Longworth, so glad you've joined. Virginia Flores, so glad that you've joined. Again, you guys, I can't see all the numbers of all of you. I got a lot of you who follow me week to week, but you haven't followed the page, and that is okay. That is all right. But if you want to, please make sure you hit like or follow the page so that you know every time that I'm live. I'm live 8 times a week, not only here, but on YouTube and on Instagram. And so let's dive in, you guys. So a couple of things before we do our reading. Josiah was the king that was right after two of one of the most worst kings there could be. We had King Manasseh, who was just a tyrant. He was ugly, he was negative, he was hateful, he couldn't stand the Lord, and he was definitely one that worshiped many gods. He was downright evil. And he reigned for 55 years. And right after him, you would have thought that Manasseh was the worst. No. The king after him, King Amon, was the worst of the worst of the worst. And when it came to doing everything against the Lord that didn't line up to the Lord, rebuking the Lord, going against the Lord, and everything that God said to do to reign prosperity, it was his mission that whatever it was, he wanted to overturn it and do the opposite. But he only reigned for 2 years. And when he died, a new king was crowned, who was only 8 years old. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo! I love it. Now, it was customary that a king was to be crowned at a very young age because they wanted him to still be trained by his father and still to learn things, and what the king did could be passed down right and all of these things. But that's not the case for Josiah. The king before him died. He only reigned 2 years. But the thing that I love that Josiah immediately did, he didn't go off of history. He didn't go off of what was. He didn't even go off of what he saw, because he was 8. He saw a lot of things. My baby at 4 can repeat what happened. She's so attentive. So he saw the evil. He reached back and researched and inquired of King David and King David's heart. That everything that David did, he wanted to do. So he started a 10-year mission in his first reign, all the way until he was 18, of just working and restoring everything, from tearing down all the temples of other gods that were worshiped, to even restoring the temple of the Lord, to cleaning house is what I call it. And they even command his people to stop worshiping other gods. There was only one God under heaven. This was his mission, starting at 8. Well, when he was in his 10th year of reign, which means he was 18, everything took off and a whole nation changed. And I want to read there, you guys. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go to 2 Kings, you guys, and we're going to read a part of 22 and a part of 23. So if you want to grab your Bibles with me, remember Tuesday night is all about the word and nothing but the word, but we do have a movie we're going to talk about. That was his choice. I'm all excited about that. But I want to make sure that we get to read and be in the word, you guys. And again, we're going to start it from the book of the law was found. Okay, chapter 22. Here we go, everybody. And if you don't have your Bible, just listen in. And if you hear something that's raining with you, man, type it right here on the feed. Because remember, we are a community. We gather on Tuesday as a body, as a family, to not just have me speak. It's for you guys to testify. It's for you guys to share, for you to be able to touch another person watching today or even over the next couple of days. You, as a child of God, as a brother and sister in Christ, man, make sure you're commenting and sharing something if you hear something so other people can be blessed as well. And so let's go ahead and start to read, you guys. And this is now titled again, The Book of the Law is Found. And it goes over a recap of him being 8 years old. Josiah was 8 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 31 years. His mother's name was Jedidah, daughter of Adiah. She was from Boskath. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord and followed completely the ways of his father David, not turning aside to the right or the left. In the 18th year of his reign, King Josiah sent the secretary, Shaphan, son of Azaliah, the son of Meshullam, to the temple of the Lord. He said, "Go up to Hilkiah, the high priest, and have him get ready the money that has been brought into the temple of the Lord, which the doorkeepers have collected from the people. Have them entrusted to the men appointed to supervise the work on the temple, and have these men pay the workers who repair the temple of the Lord, the carpenters, the builders, and the masons. Also have them purchase timber and dress stones to repair the temple, but they need not to account for the money entrusted to them, because they are honest in their dealings." Hilkiah the high priest said to Shaphan the secretary, "I have found the book of the law in the temple of the Lord." He gave it to Shaphan, who read it. And then Shaphan, the secretary, went to the king and reported to him, "Your officials have paid out the money that was in the temple of the Lord and entrusted it to the workers and the supervisors at the temple." And then Shaphan, the secretary, informed the king, "Hilkiah the priest has given me a book." And Shaphan read from it in the presence of the king. Dun, 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 dun. When the king heard the words of the book of the law, he tore his robe. He gave these orders to Hilkiah the priest, Hakim son of Shaphan, Akbor son of Micaiah, and Shaphan the secretary, and Asaiah the king's attendant. "Go and inquire of the Lord for me and for the people and all for Judah about what is written in this book that has been found. Great is the Lord's anger that burns against us because of those before us who did not obey the words of this book. They have not acted in accordance with all that is written there concerning us." Hilkiah the priest, Hakim, Akbor, Shaphan, and Asaiah went to speak to the prophet Hildah, who was a woman, by the way, who was also the wife of Shallum, son of Tikvah, the son of Harris, the keeper of the wardrobe. She lived in Jerusalem in the new quarter. She said to them, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Tell the man who sent you to me, that this is what the Lord says. I am going to bring disaster on this place and its people, according to everything written in the book the king of Judah has read. Because they have forsaken me, they've burned incense to other gods, they have aroused my anger by all the idols their hands have made. My anger will burn against this place and will not be quenched. Tell the king of Judah, who sent you to inquire of the Lord, this is what the Lord said, the God of Israel says concerning the words you've heard. Woo! Listen to this, y'all. Because your heart, Josiah, was responsive, and you humbled yourself before the Lord when you heard what I've spoken against this place and its people, that they would become cursed and would be laid waste, and because you tore your robe and you wept in my presence, I also have heard you, declares the Lord. Therefore, I will gather you to your ancestors, and you will be buried in peace. Your eyes will not see all the disaster that I'm going to bring on this place. So they took her answer back to the king, and we're just going to read the first couple of verses in 23. Then the king called together after he heard what she said. He called together all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem, and he went up to the temple of the Lord with the people of Judah, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the priests and the prophets, and all the people, from the least to the greatest. He read in their hearing all the words of the book of the covenant, which had been found in the temple of the Lord. The king stood by the pillar and renewed the covenant in the presence of the Lord, for everyone to follow the Lord and his commands, his statutes and decree with all his heart and all his soul, thus confirming the words of the covenant written in the book. Then all the people pledged themselves to this covenant. And the king ordered Hilkiah the high priest, the priests next in rank, and even the doorkeepers to remove from the temple of the Lord all the articles made for Baal, who was another god, and Asherah and all the starry host. He burned them outside Jerusalem in the fields of the Kidron Valley and took the ashes to Bethel. He did away with the idolatrous priests appointed by the kings of Judah to burn incense on the high places of the towns of Judah and all those around Jerusalem, those who burned incense to Baal, to the sun and the moon, to the consulates, and to all the starry hosts. He took the Asherah pole from the temple of the Lord to the Kidron Valley outside Jerusalem and burned it there. He ground it to powder and then scattered the dust over the graves of the common people. He also tore down the quarters of the male shrine prostitutes that were in the temple of the Lord, the quarters where women did weaving for Asherah. Josiah brought all the priests from the town of Judah and desecrated the high places from Geba to Beersheba, where the priests had burned incense. He broke down the gateway at the entrance of the gate of Joshua, the city governor, which was on the left of the city gate. Although the priests of the high places did not serve at the altar of the Lord in Jerusalem, they ate, though, that unleavened bread there with their fellow priests. Come on, Josiah. He desecrated Tophrah, which was in the valley of Ben Hinnom, so that no one could see it to sacrifice their son or daughter in the fire to Molech. He removed from the entrance of the temple of the Lord the horses that the kings of Judah had dedicated to the sun. There were in their courts, near the rooms of the officials named Nathan Melech. Josiah then burned the chariots that were even dedicated to the sun. He pulled down the altars, the kings of Judah, and erected on the roof near the upper room of Ahaz. And the altars Manesh had built in the two courts of the temple of the Lord. He removed from there and smashed them to pieces and threw the rubble into the Kidron Valley. The king also desecrated the high places that were east of Jerusalem on the south of the hill of corruption, the one Solomon, king of Israel, had built for Ashtoreth, the vile goddess of the Sidonians, for the Chemosh, the vile god of Moab, and for Moloch, the detestable god of the people of Ammon. Josiah smashed the sacred stones and cut down the Asherah poles and covered the sites with human bones. Even the altar at Bethel, the high place made by Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who had caused Israel to sin, even that altar and high places were demolished. He burned the high places and ground it to powder, and then burned the Asherah pole also. Then Josiah looked around, and when he saw the tombs that were there on the hillside, He had the bones removed from them. Come on, and burned on the altar to defile it in accordance with the word of the Lord, proclaimed by the man of God who foretold these things. The king asked, "What is that tombstone I see?" The people of the city said, "It marks the tomb of the man of God who came from Judah and pronounced against the altar of Bethel the very thing you have done." And I like this. And he said, "Then leave it alone," he says. "Don't let anyone disturb his bones." So they spared his bones and those of the prophet who had come from Samaria. Man, and I could keep going on. Everything that he did, he got rid of mediums, he got rid of spiritualists, household gods, the idols, and all other detestable things seen in Judah and Jerusalem. And that's in 24. Man, neither before nor Joshua or Josiah was there a king like him who turned to the Lord as he did, with all his heart and with all his soul and with all his strength, in accordance with the law of Moses. Let me say that again. Neither before nor after Josiah, this is in 25, was there a king like him who turned to the Lord as he did, with all his heart, with all his soul, with all his strength, in accordance with the law of Moses. Woo, come on. One man, one heart. This is when he was 18 years old. 18 years old. Josiah was king at the age of 8. He reigned 31 years, which means for 21 years of his reign, his people, because of one man, one heart, was not only saved, because God was about to bring the wrath because of what their ancestors did and because of what the ancestor did before. But Josiah knew that even as he cleaned up the temple in his first 10 years of reign, before he even found the book of the law of Moses, that even though he was trying to clean it up, he knew that there were still people that had not yet conformed to the way of the Lord. So there he was in that moment when he read that book. The moment he read it, his heart ripped inside. He cried out. He mourned. He yelled. And he knew right there, because of the book that he found, that even his people, his nation of today, could receive that wrath from the Lord, because all the things he found in the book of the law of Moses, the 5 books, were everything that God's people were not supposed to do. So he knew that that wrath was great. And instead of him going out and freaking out and marching out, he consulted the Lord. His heart was broken. His heart was heavy. He was a king that was not only heavy because of his heart, because he loved the Lord with all of his might, but he was a good king and he wanted to protect his people. And now that he knew what the law was, the law of God was, it was also a decision that he made for all of those people in Judah and even for Jerusalem. That he had a prophetess. And if you go and read, the reason why he did not go to Jeremiah, and Jeremiah was the prophet at the time that he was supposed to seek, he had his men go to her because he felt that if it was a woman going before the Lord would have compassion. Woo! Because you're a woman and you've got compassion, I want you to go speak to the Lord and ask him, what is his will? What does he want to do? What does he want me to do? But the thing that changed God's heart was Josiah's heart. The thing that changed God's heart, one man, was the fact that he honored and worshiped the Lord, that with everything that he saw, with everything he read about his ancestors, and even the things that he knew that was going on in his nation, he didn't say, well, I've been working on it. Or he didn't say, well, I'm following the Lord. His heart broke because he knew that God's covenant was broke. His heart went beyond him. His heart even went beyond his people. He had a heart like David, which was a heart to think about how God felt. Come on. That immediately he tore his robe and cried out. And because of his heart, one heart, because of his genuineness, because of his love for the Lord, his dedication, and his intensity to do what was right, God said, I've heard you. And even though the nations deserve my wrath because of everything that they've done, because of your heart, because of your cry out and your true pain in that moment, Josiah, I'm going to let my wrath not come in your time. I'm going to let you die, Josiah, in peace. And what happened in that moment because of Josiah's heart? Josiah not only saved the generation before him because they were older, he not only saved his generation, but he set up the saving of the generation after him. That by him going extreme, by him making what was wrong right, by him realizing the power that he had, the influence that he had, and that he was not weak even in that moment when God's wrath was coming, that he could employ and call up to heaven to ask God, Lord, what do we need to do? I want to inquire of you, Lord. What is your will? What does your heart say? And that his heart was so already torn because God was offended. That was enough for Josiah. That he was able to go and have this prophetess call out to God in heaven. And the heaven opened up and it heard Josiah. And God said, I heard you. And because I've heard you, I will spare those that are at the end of their life. I will spare your generation, Josiah. And I will also make sure this next generation knows me and is saved as well. One man, one person did all of that because of his heart. And because his true heart was for God, that when he read the law and he sought the Lord, he followed through with his commitment. Because what Josiah did was restore a covenant with God. He didn't just get God to say, okay, I'm going to let y'all pass for a while. He was on a mission to restore the covenant with God, a true commitment, a true contract, a true lining up that everything that God said, we're going to line up to this agreement. We're going to do what God is saying to do. We are going to restore this covenant, this promise, this covering, this favor, this blessing with God that you saw Josiah just go crazy with all of his heart, with all of his might to tear everything down. He even raised up bones. Come on. These people worship Baal, raise them up. Let's burn them. My Lord, he went through the extremes to eradicate that which was not of God. And it says in the word that he didn't look to the left or the right, that he kept his eye on God. And then he read that book, the book of the law, written by Moses, the 5 books of the law, and gathered all of his priests, all the prophetess, everybody from all the nations, and read that book and said, look, if I am king, and if you want to save your life, this is how we gonna live. This is how we're going to do. And that everything from that moment and that point, everything then fell under God, not outside of him. That's what God says we have the power to do. That's what God is calling us to move us and to raise us up from the dead to do, and to stand in who we are and ignite that power so that we are powerful, that we have the ability to change things, to speak unto things, to rebuke things, to denounce things, to bind things, and then to call unto heaven as Peter did and open it up and ask God to bring down the blessings. We have that power. But it calls for extreme fidelity. Josiah wasn't going to let anything, not even a crumb, be the reason why that covenant with God, that restoring of the land, that favor and blessing and protection from God would not be reset. That because of his heart and his dedication and his extreme in everything that he did, God says, no, that. I didn't need an army. I didn't need a bunch of people. God says, this King Josiah, his heart is the size of a 1,000,000-man army. And look at the influence, as we talked on Monday, that Josiah had. Look at the power that he exuded, and he commanded and called for that everybody who fell suit, this is how we live. This is the law. And there is no turning from it. That God blessed them with life. God's promise in that book was to downright bring it all down to nothing. He was going to bring it to nothing and made a promise that it would be restored, even though he was going to bring it to nothing. Because all the people in that time where they were favored from God, they had milk and honey, they were provided for. They started to turn away from God. They no longer honored him, talked to him, consulted him, worshiped him, and started making other people their gods. Started even forming monuments, as you saw Josiah had to tear down, statues, and started worshiping and looking to everybody else as to what to do and what would be the direction, idolizing other people, and then falling into those things and those commands that even though it started with a little, it ended up being almost a whole nation that was corrupted by the enemy, where God was not even honored or even over the throne of his people. Everybody else was put. Murder, rape, hate, fighting, killing, all of these things. Sounds a little bit like today. But one. But one. So as I was bringing and writing this message, this is the gift that God gave me. I'm going to close with this. I literally have been counting down the release of the Disney movie Mulan. I just have been literally in true petition fervently to the Lord. Lord, can we just do something with the movie industry? Can you please, if I'm going to be in this house all this time, can we at least figure out a way to bring these movies that were about to come out? Lord, I was ready. I was ready to do this. Lord, I've been hard at work. That's what I look forward to, Lord. That's my gift from you. And the movie industry shut down. So when I heard that Disney was going to release Mulan, I thought, ooh, all it takes is one. Because if one does it, then everybody's going to do it. Come on, Lord. And I'm a big lover. My favorite Walt Disney movie of all time is Mulan. If anybody didn't know that. I love Mulan because I love me some Eddie Murphy. I just do. I love that whole entire movie. But now they were going to make it into a real life epic movie, and I couldn't wait. That we had purchased, I didn't care how much. It could have been $100 and I would have done it. Just saying. I needed a movie. I needed Mulan. And I knew my grandbaby was going to watch it. So the plans were for us to watch it Saturday. But my daughter and Boogie headed to San Antonio to go see my dad. So that didn't happen. So we had to wait till yesterday when she was here. Now I'm just going to say it. Boogie was so not interested in that Mulan because it was not animated. She was bored eating her popcorn, talking to her popcorn, having a whole day with her popcorn. But me and Papa, we were 5 years old. We were loving every minute of it. And so when I was preparing this message, I heard the Lord say, And this is true, I'm not lying. Go ahead and use your movie Milan, because it was about one girl who saved a whole nation and how she went against every odds, even what was history. You've got to see this movie remade. You've got to see what they do with the animation turned into real life. And they keep so many things traditional. The music, they had Christina Aguilera redo it. It was just, I get chills right now. It was just phenomenal. And when you think about the power of one, that's what Milan did. Now, I'm going to go through this, and I'm going to do my best not to do any spoiler alerts, and I'm going to end with this. I'm going to go down this list because this talks about the power of one. Milan was an outcast in her city because she didn't follow what other people believed in traditions. She was a girl, and it was tradition that girls were to bring honor to their family by getting married and there being just like the old school dowry and money coming to their family. And that's how honor was to be. But Milan, she had something inside of her that was a fighter, that was special, that was powerful, and she just knew she was meant to do more. Everything was classified with Milan as a disgrace, because even when she went to the matchmaker, everything about her, that scene was hilarious. And the matchmaker goes out to the whole entire city and announces that her family is a disgrace, and Milan has dishonored them. But lo and behold, on that same day, here comes the emperor's commander, making the announcement that every family needs to send one man from their family to go to war. And the only man in Milan's family was her father, because he had 2 daughters. And as the emperor's commander looked at him as he was walking with a cane and a limp, his heart went out to him and said, "Don't you have a son?" He says, "No, I was blessed with 2 daughters. I will go." But Milan knew that there was no way that her dad could fight that fight. Matter of fact, her mom announced to them at the dinner table, this time he won't be coming back. And Milan's heart just tore. It tore in half. She decided to dishonor her father, dishonor her family, and take the family sword, take the heirloom of the phoenix, and take his whole entire fighting outfit, and to go in his stead and say that she was the son of her father. Now, we all know how this story goes. But the thing that I love is that in this story, as you go and watch it, and again, I'm not going to tell you the whole entire thing, you will see how the heart of one woman not only saved a nation, turned the hearts of a nation, changed history from what a woman truly was, took the evil which changed her heart, that she laid down her life. My God, that was phenomenal. And then ended up being the only one that could stand against the biggest enemy that was downright evil. One girl, one woman. God, that was a powerful scene. And what I love about it is the enemy, who's Bora Khan, is played by my dear friend. He's a dear friend of mine that I've known him forever. Okay, he's Scott Jason, even played Bruce Lee. I've known him forever. And to see him look kind of scary and intimidated, I was like, oh man, he's worked hard to keep his body in shape. And he knew he wanted to be an actor. When we were little, he says, I will be an actor. And he became an actor. So I'm really excited to see him play the part of the true evil enemy. But at the same time, it was just a great scene, as Milan was the only one, not a man, not a boy, but a woman. And only when she stood in her full self of acknowledging she was a woman, exercising her full power, could she defeat an enemy that had literally killed everybody that he had come in contact with. She changed history, and she brought honor to her family. And the thing that she did is she saved a nation, because that enemy was there to not only kill the emperor, but to take every single person out that was dedicated to him. Everybody would have died. One. The power of one. So I want to end with this, you guys. I believe that the Lord is truly trying to raise us up. I believe that God is wanting to ignite who we are inside, everything that he's already put inside of us when he formed us, even before he put us and formed us in our mother's womb. We are the people that were written for this time. We are God's children that were written to be alive and to be in this time. God is looking for us to be a Milan, to be a King Josiah, to stand up and be the difference, to stand up and own who we are, to stand up and exercise the power that God has given us. And I really hope you get that. God knows everything. So if you and I are here at a time like this, it's because God had wrote for us to be here in a time like this. Because he's written for us to be the ones who are going to rise up in our home, in our community, in our jobs, even what we do in government, is to exercise, to call down, to bestow, or even to bind up and speak it in Jesus' name. Because through us, the power of one, whether united in an army or just the power of one, God says, I can change my heart. I can change my mind. And I could take everything that is written and I could just move it or cancel it all together. All it takes is the true heart for one to save a nation. God wrote us to be living today to be the answer. God is intentional. He is purposeful. And he's looking for us to stand in our power and get it done through him. So I love you guys. I hope this message is touching you. Please go read about King Josiah. My gosh, I loved it. He just went ballistic. He probably went through every single house. Sun coming down, fire, using fire to burn what? Take it all. Oh my God, that's just the intensity because of his love for the Lord. And it's time for us to be fire for God and set it and blaze it all across this world and reset that covenant, renew it with God. I love you guys. May you be blessed, you guys. I look forward to joining you. You guys that join me on Instagram tomorrow at 11:55 Central Standard, 12:55 on the East Coast, where it's nothing but winning and worshiping Wednesday. It's nothing but scriptures that talk about winning. Woo, nothing but winning. Prosperity, you guys. And then join me Thursday night with my brothers as we come together again. You guys at 6:55 Central Standard, 7:55 on the East Coast for our show, Superheroes for Christ. And then make sure you guys join me if you've not seen the notification where I will be here Friday night, you guys, at 3 different times where I want to do something special. I want to honor those that lost their lives and even laid down their lives, the power of one to save the lives of many for 9/11, where we are just going to gather online. And what I am hoping, and I hope people join me, is that they'll just post the name of people that they've lost since 9/11, even till today, for us to pray over those families, to pray over those names, and to stand together in prayer as one family. And there's 3 different times, you guys. I'm going to keep posting that. You're going to get tired of seeing it. But we've had a lot of loss this year. There's a lot of mourning. We had a lot of loss in September 11th. These are 2 symbolic times that have changed the course of our whole life as we knew it and as we know it. And I want to honor those that we have lost on 9/11. And I want to honor those and honor those families and pray for those families of ones that we've lost even today. So please join me Friday, you guys, at 6:55 for the first session. I think 9:55 is the next one and 11:55 is the last one. And those are Central Standard Times as we join together to honor those that we have lost. I love you guys. Be blessed. And I will see you on Instagram tomorrow on Thursday night with my brothers right here on Facebook and YouTube. Now, I always come to this video here, but I think it's going to work, you guys, this time. Bye-bye, you guys. I love you so much.